Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Verses 6 to 10, please.
Sannyasastu mahabaho dukkhamaptumayogataha yoga yukto munir brahma nachirenadhigacchati yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyah sarvabhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavid pashyan shrinvan sprishan jigran ashnan gachan swapan shvasan pralapan visrijan grinnan unmishan nimishan api indriyani indriyartheshu vartanta iti dharayan brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yah lipyate na sapapena padmapatramivambhasa.
Those who are following the spiritual path, or simply the path of evolution, those who realize that as humans we have this ability to improve ourselves, to become better humans. There's always scope for development, and that is for each and every human being. And to realize that great saints and sages, prophets and masters in the past have always indicated that there is such a thing as human perfection one can strive for, one ought to strive for, because it makes your life purposeful, meaningful. Otherwise, we will all get into a mechanical existence. Day by day, year by year, we will be spending our time going through a routine. You know, wake up in the morning, do certain things in the morning, and then you have your duties and obligations, and you have to go to work or carry on with whatever you're doing in the world and finish all that, come back home, and then you go through another routine before you retire at night. And then what do? Start all over again. This can go on and on. So some of us stop and think and try and find out, is there anything more to life than just this routine? That's where a scripture plays a very important role, because these are time-tested truths which are given to us about our own life and living. So I'm just going back to what we discussed yesterday. Now you have, you could say, majority of people in the world. What are they all doing? Everybody is so busy, so preoccupied, doing something in the world. Now we're not saying it's wrong, but to believe that is everything that a human needs to do would not be correct, because we have enough evidence, we have enough literature, we've got so much that we have heard in the past from great thinkers to indicate that human existence is of far greater significance and importance than just trying to live your day-to-day life. In fact, the Bhagavad Gita, I don't know, how many of you are here for the first time? Okay, all right. What's interesting in this Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, the very first word of the Bhagavad Gita in the first verse, first chapter, starts with, anybody knows? Dharma. Dharma kshetre, Kurukshetra. That's how it starts. And the last word, in the last verse, in the last chapter, ends with mama. It's interesting. It's an observation. So it seems as if the entire philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita is sandwiched between these two words, dharma and mama. Now what does that indicate? Dharma is a word, Sanskrit word. If you look up the dictionary, it probably runs into some pages, the explanation. Because there's so many ways you can interpret that one word, dharma. But in the context, there is a simple way of understanding. It may sound complicated, but I'll help you understand what I'm saying. What do we mean by dharma? So it means what is my, mama is mine, dharma, mama. What is my dharma? What is your dharma? And the whole philosophy seems to be explaining that. The entire Gita, 701 verses, 18 chapters, talking about dharma, mama. Now, what's so important about this? Dharma is that which makes a thing what it is, without which a thing is not what it is. Totally confused, right? Understand? See, it's very, very simple. Dharma is that which makes a thing what it is, without which a thing is not what it is. Example, what would you say is the dharma of sugar? Sweetness, right? We all agree. So you could say, sweetness makes sugar what it is. Take away sweetness, sugar is not what it is. So you could say, the dharma of sugar is sweetness, which means there can never ever be a sample of bitter sugar. Not possible. Why? That's not its dharma. In a similar way, the dharma of fire is heat. That's its essential quality. Take away heat, fire is not what it is. You can never have a sample of cold fire. Not possible. Because why? It's not its dharma. Then you ask yourself that question, if that be the case, what is that which makes me what I am, without which I am not what I am? That's the basic question you gotta ask. So as I said, the ready answer for anyone will say, I am. Who? This person. This height, this weight, male, female, young, old. This is my family, this is my name. You talk a lot about yourself. We're not asking you to describe yourself. What is it that is essential in your personality without which you are not what you really are? The plain answer to that is we do not know. None of us know. When we say none, anyone who has gained enlightenment would know his essential nature, her essential nature. Until that point, you could be the most brilliant person in this world, you could be the most powerful person in the world, the wealthiest person in the world, you can put all these superlatives, achievements in the world, but you still remain ignorant of who you are. And you may say, that's all right, I'll accept that. I'll accept that I'm ignorant, so what's the problem? I don't have a problem, you seem to be having a problem. You'll rightly turn around and say that. Now what we all do not really understand is every human being is looking for their essential nature. You're actually searching. You're actually looking for it. But you don't know where to find it. Now, you may not realize that whatever you do in life, like we said yesterday, and I think we all agreed, that everyone is looking for happiness. But where do you find it? So you say, I'll be happy if I get a better home. And surely you'll be happy. But is that where you find it? Because after a while, let's say you've lived in that house for 5 months or 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. Is it the same happiness you have when you had it first? Take a look at all the happiness and joys that you experience today. I'm sure if I ask any one of you, are you happy? You'll say, yes, I'm happy. You could be happy. There's no doubt about it. And why are you happy? I have a wonderful family. Great family, and I'm so happy. You would say that, rightly. Or you have great friends. You know, with such friends, who needs a family? They're more than a family. They'll give their life for me. Something makes you happy today. Or you've got a comfortable job. You've got a great home. Each one has something to talk about. Why a person is happy. Granted. But if you take another look at the happiness that you claim you have today, it is dependent on factors outside of you. So you say, I'm happy because I have a wonderful family. I am happy because I have got this, or I'm getting this. I am happy because I've got a great profession. I have got satisfaction in doing service, maybe. Something is making you happy outside of you. And the truth is, when you place your happiness in the world, it is not guaranteed. Number one, because the world can change. And should something change around you, you will be miserable because it's not the same feedback that you've got earlier. So your happiness instantly reduces or is dissolved. Then you look for something else to give you happiness. This search is constant in everybody's life. Innocent or ignorant as we are not looking in the right place. And that is what these great texts are saying. They are not saying, don't get the world, don't enjoy the world. We've already seen that yesterday. You can possess anything you want. You can enjoy anything you want. You can be with anybody you want. Happiness is not dependent upon these factors because it is something which is within you. See, if an object gives happiness, everybody must derive the same happiness from that same object. But that is not the case. If a person gives happiness, that person should give happiness to everybody. If it is in the object, if it is in the being. See, it's like you see a white color here. Everybody is seeing white. You can't say, no, I'm seeing blue. If you say that, please see an optician. There's something wrong with your eyes. What appears white will be white to everybody. But it can't be different to each person. Because that is the quality of this object. But if you say this object is giving a lot of pleasure to you, not to everybody, because that happiness and pleasure is how you view it, how you look at it. It's from inside. The same object could be a source of displeasure for somebody else. Daughter gives happiness. Daughter-in-law gives misery. The daughter-in-law in her home gives happiness. Only in your home is misery. And your daughter who's giving pleasure to you is giving misery to some other family. It's not the person. Instantly it changes. So it cannot be in the object. It is not in the object. It is not in the being. It is how you relate, how you interpret it. and that is within you. I think it's Richard Carlson who talks about something wonderful. You have it? We'll put it here. So here you are. Richard Carlson is an American author. Something wonderful begins to happen with the simple realization that life, like an automobile, is driven from the inside out, not the other way around. You can use the same automobile to have an accident or drive home safe. It is how you deal with the driving from the inside. You can't say I had an accident because of something outside. It's how you handle the vehicle. So similarly, if you know how to handle this vehicle, this personality inside out, you will be able to deal with anything in this world. So that which you're seeking is not in the world outside, but within you. That is what this great scripture is telling us. And how do you get there? There is a method to find it. And nobody need feel it's beyond you. Because the very purpose of your existence in this world is to seek and find the truth within you. Anything else you do is not worth it. But you still have to do it. In the ultimate sense, it is not worth it because, like we said yesterday, no matter what you do in this lifetime, nobody accompanies you, not your family members. When you go, nobody comes. Not your wealth, not your name, not your fame. Nothing except your ignorance or knowledge, whichever you choose to gain this lifetime. So, I'll give you one more example because I see many people are here for the first time, only to establish this thought that the study here will help you find your own self. And that is something you are really doing even without knowing it. So just to establish the truth, I'll give you a small example and then we will get on to the portions that we have to study today. Now I appeal to those who have not heard this example, because I know many faces here who have already heard it. You will not help the others to understand. So those who have not heard this example, this is to you all. Imagine a coiled spring. You understand a coiled spring? Yes? No? Yes. Coiled spring 4 feet high. Just got to imagine it. I have a coiled spring here 4 feet high. I compress it to 1 foot. What do you think is happening to my palm when I compress it? Anybody? There's a pressure. Urging my palm which way? Upward. I release it to 2 feet. What happens now? Less pressure. 3 feet, still less pressure. Now I release it to 4 feet. No pressure, correct? So, a coiled spring 4 feet high, compress it to 1 foot, tremendous pressure. Urging it only one way, no other way, and that is upward. I release it in that direction, there is less pressure. Still more, less pressure. When I release it completely, no pressure at all. Now the question to you is, why is there no pressure at 4 feet? Why? Because it has reached its original state. Isn't this a simple example, right? Now please apply this to your own life. Everybody talks of pressures. A student talks of exam fever. Oh, I'm pressurized because I have to study, I have to write my exam, I have to do this, I have to do that. And not only, more than the student, mother is pressurized. I have to teach this fellow, I have to make sure. Everybody is pressurized. You go through pressures. Simple thing like study. Or it could be your day-to-day activity. Something has not come on time, or the train has not come on time, or the driver has not come on time. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Everything you go through in life, day to day, in a day, how much of the time are you relaxed? How much of the time are you pressurized? Everybody is going through some sort of pressure. It could be health, it could be wealth, it could be circumstance, it could be people. So many reasons why you go through pressures, stress, strain, worry, anxiety. The list goes on. You know better than me what it is. What all bothers you. Now take the same example and correlate. If anybody is going through any pressure, don't give the reason. It only means one thing. You are not in your original state. And if you choose to ignore this call, ignore the scripture, ignore what all these great thinkers have been telling us over and over again, look, you've got an opportunity called life. Just don't throw it away. Simply leading a mechanical life. Stop, think, understand why you're a human. You're not an animal, you're not a plant, you're a human. Why are you born a human? What is so special about this birth? It's an opportunity to find out who you essentially are. So here they say this is the path. So the multitude of people are satisfied in the world, simply pursuing the world, but they don't find satisfaction. Ask the richest man, is he happy? He's miserable. Why? He wants more wealth. Ask the most powerful person, is he feeling secure? He's feeling most insecure. The most powerful person. So what's the purpose? Again, when we say this, it does not mean leave everything and run away. We're not saying escape. We're saying analyze. Analyze that this pursuit of the world is not a finality. It's a means, no doubt. But there is a higher purpose. Each one's obligation is to find out and realize that one purpose, to get back to your original state. So when you start that journey, going back to your original state, it's not that you give up your obligations or your duties or whatever you're engaged in. In and through your duties and obligations, you got to understand how to find your way back to your original state. And the only way that would be practical is through understanding, knowledge, how to live your life, how to face your challenges, how to find the truth. That is the only way you can do it. That's why we have the books here. We have, fortunately, recently, we have started, recently in the sense about a year or over a year, the 3-year course, which is a planned, programmed study of all that anyone needs to know about this knowledge. You have it in the form of e-learning. So those who cannot come and spend 3 years there, you've got the opportunity to learn in the comfort of your own home. But you've got to take that much time and effort. Just an hour a day, that's all you need. You go to the gym, you go for a walk, how much time you spend? An hour, 45 minutes? The same thing, you apply some time every day for the study. And within 6 months or 1 year, you have such a clear idea how to live your life in a way that you can, in and through your obligations, find that self that you really are. So this is an opportunity, and those who start this journey are called yogis. Those who are established in this journey are called the sannyasis, and those who have reached the goal are the jnanis. So we'll get on to the 7th verse where he describes a jnani.
Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyah sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyah sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate.
He who is united by yoga, who has purified and conquered the self, subdued his senses, who realizes his self as the self in all beings, is not tainted, although acting. So you remember, we were talking about the yogi and then the sannyasi. Now he's describing the jnani. So how do you describe a jnani. A jnani, a person who's reached the highest, who's gone back to his original state, yoga yuktaha, has become one with the self, meaning he's gone back to his original state, whatever that is. He has transcended all limitations of the physical body, mind, and intellect. As most of you should know, or at least by now you know, that when you say, who am I? Who are you? Of course you're a human being, but what is this human being constituted of? What are you made up of? What all do you have? So you have an outer personality, which is your physical body. You can see my physical body, I can see your physical body. This is not you. This is just the outer personality. It's like the car that you move around with. You go about from place to place in a car, in a vehicle. This body of yours serves as a vehicle. It takes you from place to place. So now you found your place here. The body is sitting here, no doubt. But I don't know how many of you are here. Body is here. Why? This is me. No. Something in you is gone. The body being here, mind has gone somewhere. It can leave this classroom very quickly. Where does it go? Wherever the mind takes you. You will say, I parked the car here. Now when I tell you, immediately the mind will go. Yeah, where did I park the car? It can go instantly. Or it can go across the globe right now. You can think of somebody sitting in America. I wish that person was here. He would have enjoyed this. It's gone. You sit and learn first. Unnecessarily you're thinking of somebody else now. After the class you can call, you can do something. We have a webcast, they can see it. All that you can do. But now when you sit here, the body is sitting, mind is gone. So there is something within your physical body which is your inner personality, and that is your mind. Mind is feelings, emotions, likes, dislikes, wishes, wants, desires. All that put together is the mind, manas. Superior to the mind is another equipment which is buddhi. Buddhi is the capacity to think. And that's what we are trying to exercise in this classroom. If I start singing bhajans, which you hear earlier, it is to attune the mind. That's why we say, come, sit a few minutes early, because each one is coming from some background. Some of you may have had a fight before you come. Some of you may have had a problem before you come. Some of you may have a stomach ache. I don't know what backgrounds. Each one is coming from some background. By the time you gather your thoughts and have your mind, body, mind, intellect here, it takes time. That's why we have some bhajans, so that you cut off all the other distractions and you are fully available here. Thereafter, you need to apply your personality. So, there's a physical body, mind and intellect. So now this jnani has transcended the limitations of these three equipments. So he says, how does he say? He says, one who has purified. Purified means there are no desires. Remember yesterday we said, everyone has desires. You have no choice. It only changes quantum and quality. But the desires will remain until you reach the highest perfection. So desires will be there. But we've got to reduce the quantity and improve the quality. That's all we can do. And if you keep moving in that direction, you come to a point short of perfection. And when that last desires or last few desires remain, you qualify to meditate and realize. So here is a person who is purified, meaning he's free of desires and vasanas. That is what it means when he says purified. Conquered the self. It will be in capital, small case, S. Do you see that? It's in small case, S. That small case, small s, means your mind and intellect. The same word self is used later with a capital. Wherever you see the capital, it means the highest. Sorry. So conquered the self means you have your mind and intellect under control, subdued the senses. Senses means the body. So the body doesn't dictate terms to you. You control the body. What you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch, everything is under control, not out of control. So he's a master, not a slave. And then, how do you test? Excuse me. How do you know that this person has reached the highest? What is the test? He says he realizes his self as the self in all beings. You see that unity in the diversity. So such a person is not tainted, meaning even though he's acting in the world, he is not picking up fresh desires. Everybody else who acts in the world, no doubt you satisfy desires, but you pick up more desires. And what is wrong with that? Nothing wrong, but you will be only engaged in satisfying desires for the rest of your life. So let me do that. If you do that, you will only be constantly in this cycle of birth and death, going endlessly with no purpose, just satisfying desires. And if some of you feel, what is wrong? Let us go on satisfying desires. Nice, no? Each janma will be different. Once I'm a king, once I'm a pauper, once I'm man, once I'm woman. It'll be nice. What a nice way of living. The problem there is, like we said, you're doing all this for only one purpose, to find happiness. That's all you're doing it for. But you will never find it outside. You will never find it by satisfying desires, because satisfying desires is like adding fuel to fire. The more fuel, you understand, putting woods, logs of wood into fire, it will reduce it to ashes. But the fire can take more. In other words, no sample of fire will say, hey, you've given me enough today, thank you. You can go on adding wood. It will go on consuming it. It is never satisfied. The Shastras say that is your mind, human mind. You can give it anything, it will never be satisfied until you find your own self. So here is a person who has found the self, and he has passed the test. He sees the unity in the diversity, and though acting, he does not create fresh vasanas and desires. Now from the 8th verse on, he talks about how these people, the jnani, the sannyasi, the yogi, relate to activities in the world. So we start with 8th and 9th verse together.
Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavid pashyan shrinvan sprishan jighran ashnan gachan swapan shvasan pralapan visrijan grinnan unmishan nimishan api indriyani indriyartheshu vartanta iti dharayan.
So here in the 2 verses, he is talking about how a jnani, meaning a self-realized soul, one who has reached the highest perfection, how does such a person relate to various activities? Again, this is scientifically derived. What he's saying here is, in the 8th verse, the knower of truth, that's how he's describing a jnani. He's understood the highest truth, the knower of truth, united with self, has become one with the self, thinks, I do nothing at all, meaning the self does not act. I did say you have a physical body, you have a mind, you have an intellect, right? The question is, how does the body act? Or rather, what makes the body act? What makes your mind feel? Your mind feels good and bad, good emotions, negative emotions. But what enables the mind to feel? You're able to think sensibly, insensibly, rightly, wrongly. You're able to think. But what enables your intellect to think? This bulb is giving light. When you purchase a bulb in a shop, it doesn't have light. everything is intact. In fact, the fellow will test it and give it to you, perfect bulb. But there is no light. Only when you fix it in the holder and put the switch on, instantly there is light. Because when the bulb comes in contact with electricity, only then there will be an expression of light. Similarly, you have a physical body that is acting all the time. From birth to death, constant actions are being performed by the body. Even if without your knowledge, right now, you're seeing, you're hearing, it's going on, you're breathing. Digestive system is working, circulatory system is working, nervous system is working. I can go on for the rest of the evening. What all is happening in the body? Incidentally, when you say you're seeing, you know how many there are millions of operations in the retina of your eye happening constantly for you to register sight. See, if you want to appreciate Bhagavad Gita, you should know a little bit of science. Otherwise, you don't appreciate. It will fascinate you. So we are talking about one tiny aspect of your whole body. Imagine everybody's body and how many things are happening in the body right now. You don't even know it. How is it happening? I don't know, it's happening. Something is making it happen. You're not pushing sight. You're not pushing the ear here. It's going on. How? We take it for granted. Who cares? Something is going on. There is something beyond your physical body that enables your body to come to life. There is something beyond your mind that enables your mind to feel whatever it feels. There is something beyond your intellect that is enabling you to think. What is that something? That is that life principle, the self in you, the God principle in you. Atman, Brahman, these are all synonyms of something we do not know. So the whole world has given one name, G-O-D, and we've accepted. Who is God? Where is God? Nobody has a clue. And until you know what that self is, you will never be satisfied with anything in this world. So, here he says, this jnani understands, I do nothing means the self is not the doer. Electricity is not giving light. It is the bulb that gives the light. Electricity enables bulb to give light. If electricity is giving light, instead of hearing my voice, you will only see light coming out of this microphone. It gives the ability of the microphone to give out sound. It gives the ability to the bulb to give light. So electricity only enables the equipment to function. But electricity does not give light or heat or cold like in the air conditioning or sound. No, it's the equipment that expresses its nature. But what enables the equipment to give that particular nature out is electricity. One unifying principle called electricity. Throughout the world, there is no Indian electricity, American electricity, Japanese electricity. Electricity is one, everywhere. But the expressions are, there's a multitude of expressions. Heterogeneous variety of expressions because of the equipments. So when you read this verse with that idea, you understand what he means. I do not do anything at all means electricity is talking. I don't give the light. It's the bulb that gives light. I don't give sound. It's the microphone that gives sound. I don't give the cooling in this room. It is the air conditioner that does it. But I enable all this to function, being the non-doer. So he lists out all the activities. What are the activities? When he talks about seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, he is talking about the physical body, receives all these from the world. When objects of the world enter through your eyes, you see. When sound enters through your ears, you hear. So seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, these are all activities of the body, receipts. Then he says, going and sleeping. Going, when you go, you're awake. You're moving about. So he's talking about the time when you're awake, and sleeping, he's talking about when you sleep, you go through two states, dream and deep sleep. See, before you go into deep sleep, there is a state called the dream state. Everybody goes through that. So these are the three states that everyone experiences throughout their life. Waking, which you are in right now. Maybe a few people at the back may not be. Most people are awake, okay? Sometimes it happens, in a cool place, quiet place. Not quiet, it's rhythmic. The sound is rhythmic. Fall off to sleep. Then when somebody's laughing, everybody's awake. What is happening here? We come back. It happens. So what is it? What are you experiencing? These three states. Waking, dream, deep sleep. Waking, dream, deep sleep. Throughout your life. So he says, this is possible because of the enlivening factor. You're going through these three experiences. Then breathing. Breathing means what is going on within. So your reactions within. Not only breathing, but whatever you feel within. You're receiving this knowledge. You may say, I like it, or I don't like it. I understand, I don't understand. These are the reactions going on within. What is enabling you to do that? Same self. Then in the 9th verse, he continues, speaking, releasing, ceasing. These are activities of the body into the world. So there is a traffic of life. It's called receipt. The world enters you through the 5 sense organs, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. Then there are reactions in your own system and responses. Like a factory. You understand a factory? You put raw material, one end. There is machinery in the factory. It processes the raw material, and then you get finished products. In a similar way, the world enters you through the body. There are reactions within you, and you send out responses. How is this traffic of life maintained? There is something beyond which enables you to receive, to react, to respond. Also, there is something within you that enables you to go through these 3 states of consciousness. You're awake, you're dreaming, you're sleeping. You're awake, you're dreaming, you're sleeping. You're going through all this. And then he says, opening and closing the eyes, meaning internal activities, external activities. In short, you don't have to worry about detailed understanding of all this. He is only putting it scientifically, covering the range of activities. All, everything put together. He says, I do not do it. The self doesn't do it. Then what does it? Senses move among the sense objects. It's the equipments, which I've already explained. It's the equipments that manifest whatever quality they have. If there is bulb, it is light. If it is microphone, it's sound. Similarly, a saint will express himself in a particular way. A sinner will express himself in a particular way. And all those who are between a saint and a sinner express themselves in various ways. How is this possible? Because of that enlivening principle. This is how a jnani relates to all expressions in the world, because he has understood the highest. Then he talks about how does a sannyasi, a person who's not reached that state but who is well established, how does he relate to all that is happening? Verse 10.
ब्रह्मण्याधाय कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः लिप्यते न स पापेन पद्मपत्रमिवाम्भसा ब्रह्मण्याधाय कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः लिप्यते न स पापेन पद्मपत्रमिवाम्भसा.
He who dedicating his actions to Brahman, acts abandoning attachment, is not tainted by sin as a lotus leaf by water. So he's talking about the life of a sannyasi. So how does a sannyasi live in this world? He's also living in this world. He's acting in this world. He's experiencing what everybody else is experiencing. But with a difference. What is the difference? He says he lives in this world like a lotus leaf in water. It's a very famous comparison. Because what is interesting about a lotus leaf is it is born in water, it lives in water, it dies in water, but it has no connection with water. Meaning, it has a surface that is such, it will not absorb water. So even if there's a drop of water on the lotus leaf, it will be dancing. It will not get absorbed. That is comparable to the life of a sannyasi. Because here is a person who has dedicated his life, all his actions, for what? Only to get to the highest. Anything he does. If he is exercising and he's got a beautiful body, see, you could do it to announce yourself to the world. I want everybody to appreciate the body. That is why you may be maintaining a body. Or you could maintain your body in the same way. For what? I must have a firm body so that I don't have problems at the physical level, to use it to realize the self. Two different things. So what are you maintaining, whatever you're maintaining for? For what? Here is a person, if you examine whatever he does, it is only to get to the highest. That is what he means, dedicating his actions. So you can't judge a person by his actions. You got to find out the intention behind the action, which makes it ordinary or extraordinary. This is true of any action. Suppose, I give you an example. I'm only establishing that anything that you see, an action performed, you can't judge it per se. Oh, this is a very good action. Or this is a very poor action. Person gives charity, charity, charity. What a great person. I'm not saying don't appreciate. But you don't know why he's doing it. It could be for his own name. Unless I do it, the society will not recognize me. Or it could be to genuinely give people. So what makes it noble is the intention. Otherwise it's an advertisement for your own name. But you're doing it for charity. You're doing charity. So you're using charity to promote yourself. Why in this same platform? A person could be sitting here talking on the Gita for what? Name, fame, following. Or if you know something and you can convey it to help others, why not? It all depends upon the intention. And who knows it? Nobody else except yourself. Only you know why you're doing whatever you're doing. That is why the great words of Christ, he said, judge not others. You know why? Because you cannot. The only person you can judge is yourself. And we are judgmental about everybody and anybody except ourselves. What a waste of time. So let's not think about what others are doing. Let's start thinking about what we are doing. And once you do that, your life will be meaningful. So he says, he acts. The sannyasi also acts constantly. But what is the difference between a sannyasi and anybody else? He acts abandoning attachment. Meaning, he doesn't do things because he likes to do it. He doesn't avoid things because he doesn't like it. Then what does he do? How does he act? He does what he ought to do. Duties, obligations. So abandoning attachment means he does not act on the whims and fancies of his mind, but he acts on conviction. He acts on obligation. What ought to be done, whether he likes it or not. That is the control he has. So you may not like something, but if you have to do it, you better do it. You may love to do something, but if it is not right, you better not do it. According to whom? According to yourself. See, how many people say, I know I have to exercise. Then why don't you do it? Getting up, no. Terrible it is. If you know you have to exercise, you better get up and do it. If you're acting on attachment, you may not do it. If you learn to do things that you ought to do, you're well on the path of development. That qualifies a sannyasi. So he's not worried about what he likes, whether he likes it or not. No attachment. He acts. Why does he act? It ought to be done. And such a person is not tainted by sin. Sin in the context means mental agitation. So when you do your duties and obligations, whether you like it or not, you will never be agitated. Number one, you will not develop further desires and vasanas. So that is the path, and the life is compared to a lotus leaf. So you're in the world, you're born in this world, you live in this world, you interact with this world, but you have nothing to do with the world, means nothing can affect you. People praise you, you say, is that so? Am I so great? People denounce you, you say, is that so? Am I so bad? Not that you're arrogant, not that you're indifferent, but it doesn't affect you. They say, if the cap fits you, wear it. If the cap does not fit you, why are you getting agitated? A person may not have right eyesight, or may not be in his right senses. He doesn't understand a well-wisher. You don't have to get excited. You don't have to get dejected. There is no affectation. So that is what he means. A person who lives such a life can never be agitated, not tainted. Next verse.
Kayena manasa buddhya kevalairindriyairapi yoginah karma kurvanti sangam tyaktvatma shuddhaye. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalairindriyairapi yoginah karma kurvanti sangam tyaktvatma shuddhaye.
Now he says, the yogis, having abandoned attachment, perform action merely by the senses, body, mind and intellect for self-purification. Now, once again, you remember we are talking about this path of evolution. One set of people are not on the path, they are the bhogis, people in the world. This would be majority of people in the world. What are they doing? They're only looking for two things. They want to acquire. They're spending their whole life. You ask anybody, what are you doing? Earning. That's why you're running from morning till night. Run. Why? I have to earn more. We're not saying it's wrong. It's just an observation. So your whole life you're only acquiring. And then in between you try to enjoy what you've acquired. You're trying desperately, but you may not really enjoy for the amount of effort you put in to acquire. You may not really enjoy. But this is what most people are doing in the world. Then you have those who ask themselves, who take stock of their own lives and say, what is this? Is this what I'm supposed to do? Is there something else? What is it? The enquiry starts. It has nothing to do with age. Some people say, that enquiry will start when? Post-retirement pastime. Because that time you have nothing else to do. What else to do? Let me find out the meaning of life. When you're finished living. Because you're bored now. You don't know what to do. Children have left you a long time ago. And then when children go, you say, grandchildren, at least let me see them. You're dying, wanting to see the grandchildren because children have walked off. They have got their own lives, they've got their own priorities. Once in a while, they'll come and see you. That's all. You are so bored, you do not know what to do. That is why many people land up in the Bhagavad Gita class. But please, you're most welcome. Otherwise, I'll be talking to chairs here. No youngster will come. Some youngsters manage to come, I don't know why today. But otherwise, because they're so busy, they've got so many things to do. Who wants to go to Bhagavad Gita class? If they tell their friends they've come to Bhagavad Gita class, the friends will say, have you gone mad? Kya depression hua hai kya? Love failure, huh? The girl left you. For all different reasons they land up here. Maybe they are here for that reason. So nobody wants to come for Bhagavad Gita. What is that? So after everything is over, then we start finding out why have we been born a human being. The first milestone of life, you've got to ask, if you're a sensible person, ask, why am I here? What is the purpose? And achieve that purpose. So the yogis are those, and it's interesting, in the jnani he uses singular, sannyasi he says he who, singular, yogis is put in plural. So these are the things that you perhaps may not notice unless you study the Gita. So it's an indication that most people in the spiritual field are in the beginning of the journey. It's not easy to reach the highest point. So you don't have scores of Christs and Krishnas and Muhammads and Buddhas and Mahaviras. One in a generation. That too we know from hearsay. It's not that we have come and shook hands with the great master. It's not that. Because of the general information you get and you're brainwashed from childhood, you accept it. But the multitude, he says, are yogis in the spiritual path. And that percentage is 0.001% of the total world population. What are the rest doing? Acquiring, trying to enjoy. Acquiring, trying to enjoy. That's what 99.9% of people are doing in the world. That small percentage look for other meanings to life. They are the yogis. Now what are they? Having abandoned attachment. Attachment means simply running after the world. They want to find out more about life and living. So they're not merely attached to the world. They say, okay, we'll have the world and everything. But no, I've got to find out more. So they're not led away by the demands of their mind. They turn inward. They perform actions merely by every aspect of the personality. Senses, what you receive. Body, what you act. Mind, what you feel. Intellect, what you think. Meaning every aspect of your personality, they say, I must find out the meaning of life. So they dedicate themselves for self-purification. You could say self-development. So why are you living your life now? I want to be a better human. Whatever I do, I must consciously try and become better. Are my actions better? Meaning, am I being selfish or unselfish in my actions? How do I feel? Am I thinking only about myself or for the welfare of my family or the office or wherever you are, a greater community? And do I feel for the others? Thinking, how are you thinking? Again, just for your own welfare or for the welfare of one and all? So you can slowly convert every aspect of your personality to something higher, something nobler, which is within your capacity. These are the yogis who are not satisfied by just living their lives in the world. They refuse to be just carried away by what the world offers. They say, no, I've got to find out the meaning, and every aspect of their life they dedicate for self-purification. Continue.
Yuktah karma phalam tyaktva shantimapnoti naishtikim ayuktah kamakarena phale sakto nibadhyate yuktah karma phalam tyaktva shantimapnoti naishtikim ayuktah kamakarena phale sakto nibadhyate.
The yukta, united one, having abandoned the fruit of action, attains eternal peace. The ayukta, non-united, impelled by desire, attached to fruit, is bound. So now he gives a clear distinction. If you have followed the flow of thought, this evening we are discussing the relation of a jnani, sannyasi, yogi to action, activities. That's what we've just seen so far. So one who has launched on this program to get back to the truth. So even if you say, look, I don't know where the truth is, I don't know what the reality is, but I can understand one thing. Let me be a better human. Let me do better than where I am. I'm not perfect. I know I'm imperfect, but let me put in efforts in my life to become more and more perfect. That itself will put you on the same path. So he says, those who want to unite, spring, the coiled spring, get back to your original state. Unite again is the word yoga. I've already told you, yoga is a Sanskrit word which means to unite, to join. In fact, religion has the same meaning. It's taken from two Latin terms, religare, which means to unite. Check it out. Nowadays you can just go to the internet and find out whether that's the meaning. So whether you use the word religion or you use the word yoga, it means the same thing, to get back to where you belong. And if you choose not to and stay away from your original state, you know what will happen. What will happen? There will be pressures. So next time you talk about, I'm pressurized, I'm worried, I'm anxious, take a moment. All that you're going through is because you're not set on the path. Because the moment you're set on the path, it's not that you'll become Christ overnight. It's not that. But the intensity and frequency of your agitations will reduce. So today you have X amount of worries, X amount of agitations. This disturbs you, that disturbs you, this person annoys you, that person's speech irritates you. You could have all these little problems in life. And each one's got their own set of problems. And you say, look, I would only hope for one thing. Nobody has my life. Because even my enemy should not have my problems. Each one will say that. Because your problems are the biggest for you. But your neighbor will say, what are you complaining? Huh? Do you know what my life is? Huh. You have a mother-in-law like mine and see what will happen to you. Do you believe it's a mother-in-law that's giving the problem? The mother-in-law will say, no, what mother-in-law? Daughter-in-law is the one who's giving me problem. Each one will say that. See, this poor fellow, it's a typical Indian boy. He wants to please the parents. So the mother is worried, what? Boy is not getting married. No? So mother, you find any girl because you're going to spend more time than me. So because they stay together. All right. So the mother searches, scans. She goes to every wedding, every party. Why? She's looking for a pretty girl. Finally, she finds a girl and is very happy, found a girl for the boy. And the boy meets a girl and they say, okay. And the boy says, whatever you say, mom, and gets married. After 3 months, go and see her. Because before marriage, she said, what a lovely girl. Best girl. You dropped from the heavens. That's why she's getting the girl married to the son. Huh? Because my boy is such a good boy. And these days, modern girls, you can't trust anybody, you know. So she has scanned, got the boy married, everything happened. So before marriage, she was so full of life and looking forward to the wedding and all that has happened. And after 3 months, you see her walking somewhere, you know. In the morning walk, you meet, Amma, what happened? Everything's fine. Yeah, everything is fine. It's totally different expression she has. What happened? Has anything happened? No, the usual thing. What is usual? See, these girls, you never know until they get married. Till then, they're angels, you know. Once they enter the house. But what happened? She's not what I thought she will be. You know? So this poor fellow, he never interfered. He did not do anything, you know, didn't interfere with the selection. He was quite happy. The girl seemed all right, everything was okay, got married. Now, every day he comes home, if he looks at his wife, mother is upset. If he says, all right, let me take care of my mother, wife is upset. You married me. What are you looking at her all the time? So many years she looked after her. This poor boy doesn't know which way to go. Whole day he's working in the office, he comes home, both the ladies are turning the face. Then he saw Bhagavad Gita lectures. He said, best come here and sit. ayukta. He is trying to become yukta. That's why he came here. Trying to get rid of his problems, stress and strain, worry and anxiety. Like goes home full of stress. So he's preparing himself with all this talk. Now he has to go home and meet both of them. Preparing. So the yukta, united one, having abandoned fruit of action. So you don't get anxiety for fruit. I've done this, will I get this? Just do what you ought to do. The fruit is automatic. Where will it go? Effect. Fruit is nothing but an effect. I've put in hard work. I've put in hard work. If you have put in hard work, the result will come. But I put in hard work, no result came. Therefore, you did not put in hard work. So you can't alter the law. You can't decide which is hard work. Put in X amount of work, you will get this result. The law is impeccable. You don't have to question the law. You have to question yourself. But instead of questioning yourself, you question the law. Then what do you do? After performing the action, knowing fully well you have not done right, then you start going to the temple. Oh Lord, 100 coconuts I will break. Please give me this. So you have a contract with God. You think he is going to take 100 coconuts. And the worst part is, after taking 100 coconuts, forget 100, 2 coconuts you take, you bring back half. Why? I have to make chutney at home. That also you don't want to give him. And you expect to get results. How are you going to get? So here is a person who does what he ought to do without anxiety for fruit. No fruit. He has abandoned the fruit, means he has no anxiety for the fruit. He is only concentrating on right action. Such a person attains eternal peace. If eternal peace in the ultimate sense, relative peace in the relative sense. So you will be more and more peaceful the less and less you think about the result. And more you concentrate on right action. And ayukta, our friend with the wife and mother, who is not yet understanding these principles, impelled by desires attached to fruit, is bound. Both sides he is bound. No freedom. Meaning he is bound by worry and anxiety. Next verse.
Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan.
From the 13th verse right up to the 19th, he's talking about that supreme state. Because he's indicating you've got to get to that supreme state. What is it? Mentally renouncing all actions and self-controlled, the embodied rests happily in the city of 9 gates, neither even acting nor causing to act. See, please bear with us. This is all technical language. It is poetry. So the message is not direct. You have to interpret the meaning and get the message. That's why we are here, to share with you how to read these verses. So if you read them as a translation, you will be completely lost. You won't know what they're saying. So when you understand the language and interpret it, you will get the message. So he is talking about the supreme state. And he is describing this yukta, the jnani, the one who's reached there. What happens, he says, how does a jnani live as a dehi? Dehi means one who's embodied, who's got a body. It's not like he's in a spirit going somewhere. He's got a physical body, dehi. But sarva karmani manasa sanyasya. He is mentally renouncing, not physically. See, it's like this. Suppose you understand a dream, right? You fall into a dream. You have a dream world, dream friends, all that is happening in the dream. Let's imagine that for now. Suppose it's possible, now that you've woken up, what will you say? The dream is just imagination. Isn't that what you'll say? Suppose you've made 1 crore lottery in the dream. Will you go to your bank now and say, where is the 1 crore? You understand that, right? So dream means when you wake up, you say, what a lovely dream. 1 crore I got. You'll say that, but you'll understand that it has no meaning. It's a great dream, nice dream. Now imagine as a waker, you've already woken up, and you go back into your dream if it's possible. It's not possible. But imagine as a waker, you re-enter the dream. What value will you have for that 1 crore which you are supposed to have got? You know it's imagination. So you're mentally renounced, though people in the dream, your friends will congratulate you. Hey, great, yeah, you got this lottery. We are so happy for you. We are so happy for you. You also say, yes, we'll throw a party. All that you do. But mentally you know, this is not right. This is not the reality. Why? As a waker, you've entered. Similarly, the state of a jnani is such that he understands this entire world is nothing but a fragment of my imagination. Maya. We use the word Maya very easily, illusion. But you cut your finger, you say, where is the Maya? It's hurting. This is not an illusion, it's pain. So you believe it's real. As long as you are in that state, it will be real. Just as long as you're dreaming, if a tiger comes behind you, you'll start running. You can't say, oh, this is Maya. The tiger will maul you, you will have, all injuries or perhaps even on the verge of death, because in the dream it's real, relatively, till you wake up. So when the tiger pounces, you fell off the bed and woke up. Oh, terrible dream, terrible dream. But in the dream it was so real. As long as you are in that state, it is real. It's only when you wake up, you understand the futility of the dream. So these great masters had woken up to that highest state of perfection, as a result of which everything in this world was relatively futile. They had that understanding. From that position, if you read this verse, it will make sense. Mentally renouncing all actions. Though acting, they are not worried or anxious. It's like entering the dream. They do everything mentally renounced. And then self-controlled. So there is no ego, there is no desire, there's a perfect, they're not led by likes and dislikes, nothing. They're perfectly under control. And then such people rest happily in the city of 9 gates. 9 gates refers to the body. It's a metaphor from the Kathopanishad. That's why Navadware. You don't have to get to the detail, but if you understand it's the physical body. Rest in this personality. You have a physical body. You rest in this personality happily. Neither acting nor causing to act. Meaning you are not acting on desires, and therefore you do what you ought to do, whether you like it or not. So you're not acting on desire. Then what are you acting on? Duties and obligations. And when you do that, you don't cause to act. Meaning you don't cause further desires to act. So you're not acting on desires, you're not creating more desires, you're just fulfilling your duties and obligations. If you say, I did not understand this verse, congratulate yourself. Because it's the highest state. How can you understand the highest state? If you understand the highest state, you'll reach there. It will be difficult to conceive. How is it possible? If you go out of the room, no, it's not possible, it's impractical, you're on the right track. You're listening to the lecture. If you say, yeah, I understood very well, I know we failed. So it is not surprising that inability to understand what is this state where it seems to be a state where you have no feelings, where you're not affected. How boring will that be? It's like a statue. You put a garland, no expression. If a crow comes and sits and dirties, no expression. That will be my life. No excitement, no desire, no anxiety, no excitement. Now, it is like a child looking at an adult. A child gets so excited with toys. Oh, lovely toy, new toy, great toy. Parents say, acha, bahut acha hai, very nice, very nice. So the child doesn't understand. The parent don't realize the excitement of a toy. The child feels. Why is an adult not excited? Because an adult has grown out of those toys. He understands the children will be excited with all these playthings. But now that he's become an adult, he understands it's just toys. How much can you get excited? You will appreciate if the child comes and show you, "Arey, bahut acha hai, very nice, very nice." You're not one bit interested. Putting on an act just to please the child. Even if you appreciate the toy, how much value do you give it? Nothing. But for the child, that toy is everything. It's life. All its happiness rests in that one toy. If the toy is broken, its life is broken. But when the child starts crying, you'll say, "Hey, beta, what is there? We'll get another toy." No, this toy I want, this toy. The child is uncontrollable because he has his values in that toy world. The child cannot understand. How can you live? You're a boring person. Who? The adult. Because you don't understand the excitement of toys. The child doesn't understand. The adult is caught up in another toy world. He's got a toy car. That man got a real car. That's the only difference. But a jnani is one who has grown beyond this entire world. That is what you got to project. And we'll continue tomorrow. Thank you.